begin by a short introduction on what's the usual design process for designer, and where is located the simulation in this process. Then we'll see how the simulation is integrated into the 3D experience platform of Dassault Systèmes. We will see also a short demonstration of a simulation setup with a video of a part and a mechanical simulation on it, and concludes on what are the benefits of using 3D experience for simulation for the designers. So as I told you earlier, we are just going first to look at what are the general process for designing parts. Generally, the concept design comes from an idea that some people have of a system which is needed, and they are thinking about what are the possibilities for answering the needs of a customer, the needs of the market for a new part or a new system. This idea generation, and the first topic, is generally done, it was done in the past with paperboards, etc., etc. It's just brainstorming and thinking about what's possible for every part. Now we can do this kind of activities, tasks, in 3D modeling tools, and that are very useful for modeling quite easily and quickly the various proposal of design, for example, and the various solutions that are possible. Then we think of comparing these different possibilities, different concepts, and using some key indicator, we can select different possibilities and put aside some concepts that are not good for the further development. So it's called the trade-off study. You extract from all the ideas that has come some of them in order to go further in the detailed design. In the detailed design, you use various tools in order to model more realistically the part and the assemblies. And you compare these parts using other KPI, key performance indicators. And then you go further in the refinement of the design to go to the virtual or physical test. It depends on the companies and the design office that can physically or virtually test the parts in order to validate the concept, in order to validate the design in terms of strength, in terms of weight, in terms of capabilities regarding thermal loadings, etc., etc. And then you can go to the production step and put the parts on the market. Here we are looking more on the first, the first big steps, concept design and detailed design, because this presentation is oriented on the challenges that are facing the designers, and this challenge are corresponding to the difficulties or the lacks of knowledge on the simulation topic. So in order to continue on the information that that we have from our customers on how it's done, the simulation, and how the simulation is part of the concept design tasks. Usually, as we said, the designers will produce a lot of different concepts, and we'll have to choose among them before doing the detailed design. We will not go to the detailed design for all the concepts that have been thought about. So in order to make the choice, we have some indicators that could be used, and also it might be based on some experience, the feedback of several years of designing, of several parts that have been created by the company or by the person, the designer himself. The gut feeling and what you feel about the part. You think that this one is better than the other one because inside of your thinking you feel it's better, or maybe you've done some hand calculation that can be also useful just to have a first idea of if the part is quite well designed or not. But these indicators that you can use and that are mostly used by in the early stage of design, of concept design, have some consequences that can be listed as generally we do the parts more big than necessary, more strong than necessary. It's called over-dimensioning, and it's just because it's not optimized. You know, you create a part without having the physical result that can tell you the part can be reduced in terms of size, etc. So it leads to obviously an increase of the mass that is not necessary for answering the requirements of strength of the parts. It's also very time consuming, so you do not have time to explore various alternatives that you haven't think about. This leads to a reduction of the capabilities that you have to innovate and to create new designs. So it's differentiators that you don't have with maybe the concurrent companies. And you cannot, it's quite difficult to have to capture the experience and the knowledge in the process you've done for choosing the part. Once a concept have been chosen, the designers or the design engineers will go to the detailed design of the project. At the end of the process, you will have to do some testing phase. So you have the possibility to test physically or to test virtually the part. Of course, if the part is not built, you have to test it virtually. So you have to ask experts in terms of analysis to validate the part. So it's either internal if the company has a simulation office, or external if you need to ask a subcontractor, for example. Also, it's limited to key products because it's quite expensive, it's quite long, and it requires specific people. So generally, you send to virtual validation only the important projects. Also, you limit the number of iterations because it's very also time consuming if you need to do the full package of the validation. For example, for aeronautical parts, it's quite long to validate all the requirement of the RTCA norm. And of course, the physical tests are very limited because of the capabilities of the parts. So this prototyping and the physical test are involving very important costs in terms of manufacturing of the prototyping, and it's generally occurs only at the ending phase, the last stage of prototype of design, when you are quite sure about your design. So what are the consequences of these tasks, of the way you are doing it? Generally, as we said, it's very time-consuming operation because you have a lot of exchange between the different offices and maybe between you and the subcontractors. You are doing a lot of loops that's between design and test. The physical prototyping are very expensive. It can cost some €1,000 to several dozen of €1,000, and if there is an error in the design and you look at it in the prototyping and the test on the prototyping, you have to change it from the design part, but it's quite a long process to modify it. So in order to reduce all this risk and to improve your capabilities in terms of design and innovation, the 3D experience has been developed in order specifically to answer this problem, to answer and to change the consequences of the way you are designing the parts. How it's done is with bringing some specific key values and main reason that can be push you to use this solution. The first one is that the solution, the 3D experience solution, simulation solution, has been created with designer in mind, providing a smart application to remove the guessworks for the products that you want to optimize. This is the first one. We'll see it more deeply in the next slide. The second point that we will see today is that here we are using the best-in-class technologies in simulation, in realistic simulation. So it's designer in mind, but using the best-in-class technology in a unified environment. The third point that we'll see today is the integration with the CAD tool. Of course, when you are designing a part in a CAD tool, in a computer-aided design tool, you need to have a seamless operability with the computer-aided engineering. So it means with the simulation tool. You do not want to export a file and have some error source for the not the good version of the part, etc., etc. It can happen when you are doing this loops between design office and simulation office. You can sometimes exchange a wrong part, and here we are trying to show you that you don't have anymore this kind of problem. There are 4 other topics, and we'll see only the last one, but the platform is useful for the collaboration between all the person that are working in the company, either designers or engineers, and even more all the stakeholders of the design project. It's scalable, so it means that you can evolve the tool regarding your skill improvement also, and it helps you to increase your productivity and to focus on the designing and engineering instead of focusing on the non-value added tasks. And the last one, so as I told you, we'll see, it's that it's on cloud, so it minimizes the hardware and software cost. We'll see deeply in the next slide. So the first one is this: the 3D experience, the whole solution, the simulation solution, have been developed keeping in mind that what wants the designers, and they want generally something that's close to a clear and intuitive user interface, because their main tasks are not the simulation, and they want to have something that is quite close to the tools that they are using every day. And if they are going to do some simulation, they don't want to think about all the theory and the complexity of the simulation. So something that is easy to use, something that it's fast to set up, and we have also an assistant that guides you to the workflow, the simulation workflow, so helps you to see what's missing for the simulation and what's good for the simulation. We'll see green ticks when it's okay, and you will see a red squared or a red circles when it's not. Here, for example, on the assistant, we can see everything is okay. You can simulate, but you don't have the result, so it means that the results are not available yet. So it means that the simulation has not been played. So it checks that something is complete or not, and the assistant helps you at every step. So here a short video on how it works. So you log on the web, and for example, the designer has a task in order to verify the design in terms of analysis, the design that he has done. So it open here, the person open the simulation tool and select a structural simulation, because he has to verify a structural loading. So you see on the right part that the part has okay, the material has okay, is the same material than for the design. You specify a surface-based contact. It's automatic. You don't have to select each surface in order to verify that they are in contact or not. You select the connection that are the same than in the CATIA in 3D experience, for example. You select the boundary conditions. So here we are selected a clamping on the bottom, and here we are selecting a force that you can orient along a specific direction, and you can select the value on the force. So it's quite easy and quite user-friendly interface. You don't speak about meshing, you don't speak about everything, and here you launch the simulation. Once the simulation is loaded, you can select, of course, local cores or cloud capabilities, and it uses the Abaqus solver, which is one of the powerful solver of in simulation worldwide. And you can see the result of the simulation here. So here is von Mises stress, but you can also check for the displacement of the part and the deformation of the part. You can also check for the contact pressure within the part, and you can look inside your assembly if the design is okay, or if there is something that you need to change in the 3D. Once it's done, you just have to look at your task, search for the simulation that you just did, and connect your simulation to the task to share with the person that has given you the task that you have done your simulation, and for you it's okay. You can just, for example, write a comment and to say, yeah, please check the simulation because it's complete on my side, but you have to seek for the result. Maybe an engineer or project responsible will see and check if the simulation is okay. So it's the first stage of validation for you that your design is okay in terms of generally, globally, the the displacement and the stress. The second point that we'll see here is the interoperability. It means that you want a tool that is integrate both design tasks and simulation tasks. And the 3D Experience platform offers a seamless interoperability between both of these tasks and also the project lifecycle management. So same environment for design and simulation, quite same graphic interface also. Automatic update of the simulation if the design is changed. This is a very important point. If you change your design, for example, change a dimension, add a hole in your part, or change the radius of a corner or something else, the simulation will update and the result of the simulation will update automatically. So it's very it can help you to save a lot of iteration and a lot of time for this iteration between, for example, the designer and the stress engineer, because once you've done the design and once you change the design, the simulation will automatically change. So we will see here this in the video on the next slides. You can also connect CATIA V5 and CATIA 3D Experience, because in the platform 3D Experience you have the same capabilities than CATIA V5 if you're using CATIA V5. So you can use both 3D Experience and CATIA V5, or use only 3D Experience for your design, but you can export from 3D Experience, for example, CAD parts and CAD products. If you, for example, use CATIA V5, you make a change in your design in CATIA V5, you can connect directly CATIA V5 on 3D Experience and do the simulation on 3D Experience. And so this will have the same behavior. It means that a change in CATIA V5 will have a direct link to the change in the simulation in 3D Experience. This is the same geometry, no changing and no format conversion. You don't have to change, for example, in a step or IGS format. It is the same geometry, the same tree, and the same capabilities. The other point that I would like to talk about is the technology. The technology for designers in terms of simulation, I mean, is very important, because often designers that are doing pre-calculation, pre-simulation in the design tasks are facing the experts in terms of simulation with the if they are using a good software for simulation, a good code, etc., etc. And the experts, the simulation experts, often tells the designer that they don't rely on their results because the software they use is not very good or very famous or this is not the same than they are using them. So to answer this problem here, you are using the same technology than experts. It's just that the user interface is more easy to use for you, and it's more guided than for experts. But for designer, you're using here the same technology. So nobody can doubt about the result of your simulation because this is the same technology that will give the result for an expert. So it brings a lot of credibility for designer works, and it makes the result more reliable and accepted by the expert. So you save time to explain the expert that your simulation is okay. So at the first, the 10 years ago, you needed an expert to do the really reliable simulation. Now you can do the same reliable simulation than expert. It's just that your workflow is more guided. And you have the same environment than experts. The only difference is that some capabilities are more evolved for expert, and you can do some specific analysis with advanced structural analysis. You can also perform simulation on durability analysis. You know, when your part is submitted to a lot of cycles. Here you can see on the left a part called, in English I don't remember the term, but it's a steering part from a car. On the middle you can see a part that is for you put inside your ankle to replace an used bone. Okay, and of course there's a lot of cycles when you are walking. You are doing several thousand parts a year, a day, and so much more on a year. And the last one, for example, is that you can also calculate some thermal loadings on your part. You can see here an engine, internal combustion engine, for maybe it's a car, it's a 4-cylinder, and this is the same environment and the same calculation technology that allows you to do the simulation for the designer, do the simulation for the advanced engineer in terms of structural analysis, do the durability analysis, do the thermal analysis, and some others also. This environment that is unified is available on cloud. It means that you have an instant deployment, and we will see a short video that show you how to deploy the cloud, the 3D experience in cloud. It's in 6 steps and it's very easy. It's scalable. It means that you can evolve in terms of capabilities that you are able to do on the platform. It hosts all of your data in the cloud, so you don't have to have an own server in order to store the data, and you don't have to have a very powerful server or machine in order to compute, because you can use the on cloud computing and the core of Dassault Systèmes Cloud. With the cloud, you also automatically upgrade the platform. You know, every several months you have a new release with bug correction and new performance and new capabilities, and it's automatic. And of course, you have full-time support for this operation and the problems of use. So let's see the video of the instant deployment without the sound. It's in 6 steps. You will deploy the cloud on your company. Okay, so it's called the step to enter the age of 3D experience. The first step is to connect the platform, because you have the right to connect. You know, Dassault Systèmes send you the right to connect to access the platform. You create a 3D passport, that is an account, and you get started directly by connecting to the web platform. So the person is entering his password, and you have the platform management dashboard that allows you to invite members and to grant the role to the members. A role allows you to do several tasks because it grants you access to several tools. Once you have the tools, I mean the apps, you just have to use it either on the web, either or with the full installation on your computer. For the very heavy tools, such as the equivalent of CATIA in the 3D experience, or for the simulation. And once you have installed all the app, you can directly use and begin to create the CAD and create the simulation, etc., etc. So 6 quick steps just to deploy the platform. It takes less than half a day for the first person. So create the passport, connect to the 3D experience, invite member, grant roles, install apps, and begin to play. So once we have a look on the 3D experience, we will see now what it's concretely, and we will see a video for a demonstration of a setup of a simulation on a CAD that is existing. So first, you connect to the platform with the web interface. So you have access to different possibilities in terms of dashboarding. So you can create your own dashboard in order to have some web applications, just to have a look. The web applications are dedicated to the consultation of the geometry, consultation of the results, consultation of some information that are stored in the platform, and you can just check, for example, the geometry. That's what we will do here, in order to be sure that is the geometry you want to select for the simulation, for example. So here we are seeking for the good part. So there is a research that you can do, and then we'll open the part on a viewer in order to check for the part. Here we will not do any modification on the part, it's just for visualization. So you can do this either on the very small laptop or not powerful laptop. You can do also on a tab or on your cell phone, and it's just a web application. You download all the information of the CAD. You can have a look and change the visualization of the part. You can explode the parts, and you can dive into the part in order to see if there is the good one. If this is a good one, you can have some measurement also between the different sides of the part. So here it's written 819 millimeters. Once you have done this, you are sure that this is the good CAD product, for example. You will open, for example, the assembly manager. Here you will open the rich application. it means that you will be able to do some modification on the application. So it launches the rich application. It's the equivalent of CATIA v5 for the people that knows CATIA v5. So on the left, you will see the same trees than CATIA v5 and more or less the same environment than CATIA v5. And also you have the engineering connection here. The first step is to add material on your model, because on this we don't have any material on the part. So you are seeking, we are inside CATIA, we are seeking for a core material called steel in order to apply it on the parts. But you can create your own material, aluminum, composite, titanium, steel, etc., etc. So you can apply to the part of your assembly, either for all the parts or for only one part. Here we are applying the same material for all the parts for convenience. When you look into the material, you have several domains, and the rendering domain, the drafting domain, and we have also the simulation domain. So in the simulation domain, you have all the information of the material for the Young modulus, and you have information on plasticity, for example, thermal conductivity, of course the density, the Poisson ratio, that are needed for the simulation. So this is the same material that you use with CATIA design than in the simulation. It's just that you have added some additional domains. So here we are creating the simulation data. So it brings a new model, a new data model on the platform. It's called the MSR model. MSR stands for model, scenario, and results. We are selecting here structural simulation type because we want to create a structural simulation type. On the left, the tree has changed, and you can see on the model this is the same tree than in CATIA. And then we are creating the scenario. On the right, you see the assistant, and we will set up the simulation with the help of the assistant. So first, you are selecting what are the parts you need for the simulation. You remove the parts you don't want, for example, but you remove only for the simulation. You don't remove from the assembly. Okay, it's just that it's not useful, for example, for the simulation. Then you select, and it's not necessary, but here we have decided to select a global mesh size. So a mesh allows you to perform finite element calculation, but you can also just say if you want a coarse of or a refined mesh for the parts. You can, if you want, edit locally the density of the mesh. If, for example, on this hole or on some very specific location on the parts, you want more precise results. For example, here on the location where it will where it will be some bolts. If you need more precise results and mesh. But once again, we have decided here to do this, but you can also do it automatically. So it generates automatically the mesh. And it's you see that on the same tree you have the product, the 3D product, and the finite element on the left. So the material is okay because we have we have applied it earlier. Then we are looking for contact and connection between parts, and there are the tools that allows you to seek for automatically seek for contact between parts. So we are seeking here for sliding contact because we think that the connected surface can slide the one over the other. So automatically seek for contact detection, and we have set up the contact. Then you can select by hand also some different contacts between, for example, okay, this surface and another one that it is a blue one, and it's here it's bonded contact. So you can select sliding or bonded contact. So a visualization manager helps you to verify where are the contacts, for example, and to make some parts with transparency or to hide some parts. Then the next step we will apply bolt load on the parts, you know, to preload the link between, for example, here the blue part that is gray now and the brown part above. And you can automatically replicate the bolt you just created on the same surface. Okay, so you have selected, for example, a preload force, and you replicate on the same surface the bolt preload. So it's automatically done. It's automatically done. We can do this for the vertical bolts, and you know, bolt load are 2000 newtons, and you can automatically replicate the bolt on the same surface. So it's quite easy to set up this bolt. The geometry here of the bolt is just for make you understand that you are applying bolts between parts. Then you need to create the boundary conditions and to create, of course, the loads. So the boundary conditions here will we will use a clamp on one side, and you can also create sliders, bolt joints, hinge, and several kinds of connections on the parts. Once you've done the restraints, you just select the loads that you can apply on the model. So gravity, centrifugal loads, forces, pressure, or remote forces, remote torques, quite various capabilities in terms of loads. And here we will apply a remote force inside the hole here, and that will be applied on the brown parts. So it's 2000 Newton along a specific direction that you can change, of course, and you can select on your own. And the model setup is done because we see that on the simulate button is green. So it means that all the setup of the simulation has been done. So it's good for simulation. So you click on simulate, and you can choose for the calculation to be done on your local CPUs, so on your local computer, or using the cloud capabilities. Also, you can select if you use the tokens that are included in the license of the simulation tools, or if you want some additional tokens or credits afterwards. So you select here performance of 4 cores. It means that you will use for CPUs for the calculations, and it will be done faster. Then on the same environment than for the setup, you have the result visualization. So you can mask the assistant and look at the results. Here we are looking for the von Mises stress. You can have some change on the legend in terms of smoothing the colors or unsmoothing the colors. You can only show max value, mean values. You can add some modification in terms of visualization, apply the visualization of the mesh, for example, to see if there is a problem due to the modeling. You can scale the deformation of the part with a specific factor in order to improve the visibility of the deformation. You can plot the result in terms of displacement, for example, in terms of tension or compression, so in terms of stress, and in terms of von Mises stress, as we told earlier. You can create groups. You can plot only groups or only parts in order to dive into some parts for the results. So you have an environment to look for the result where you want to see the result, and it's quite easy here with the compass tool, just to make a cutting plan for the visualization. Sorry. So it's very interesting if you want to look into the assembly, if there is another constraint part or another stress somewhere. You can create sensors in order to have an information in terms of results at a particular place. Here we want to see what are the results in terms of forces at the clamp, and you can look for this result to be plotted. And you can play the animation, for example, just in order to see how the parts behave with the load. So once we have done all of this, we have selected what we want to see in the results, we can create an automatic report with the specific information we want to see inside, and it creates an automatic report that you can open with Word if you have Office, with the pictures of the part, the specific values for the sensors, the max and the mini of some information you have selected to be inside the report. So once you saved the simulation, you can access the simulation in the web interface. For example, if you are project manager or another designer and you want to see what has been done on the parts you are working on, you can look at the simulation results in the web interface. It means that you will use more or less the same tools that we see previously. It's called 3D Play, and instead of plotting the 3D part, you will plot the result of the simulation. So you will plot stress result, deformation result, displacement results, etc., etc. So you can have information about the content of the model in terms of number of elements and what kind of elements. So if you talk with an expert, he can verify what you have done automatically on your simulation, and give you a feedback on the simulation. You can also have different views on the part. You can create some annotation on the part, some cutting view also, in order to share with other person the information of your simulation. So if you want to create, a text as an annotation here, you can do this. Add some text to say, for example, look at this part because I think it's very specific. You have high stress here. Okay, and you can share your picture in a community that you will share with all the persons that are in the community. So it's very interesting if several people are working on the same project, and you can share your feedback about the simulation you've done. You don't have to do a print screen of the simulation. You don't have to send the print screen with the Word, with the email, and exchange with a list of email of everybody. You have a community where everybody can communicate directly on the platform with the link with the 3D parts and the simulation. So it's very interesting. Okay, so just to sum up, we have a very interesting tool for the integration of the simulation in the design process using a graded interface that is built as a workflow for all the tasks that are necessary for the simulation. You have an assistant that guides you for the simulation if it's not your main job. It's more easier to have an automatic assistant. You can do all kind of simulation. We have seen structural, but you can perform also thermal simulation. You can seek for the eigenvalues of for the vibration. You can change the meshing method if you are confident into this. This is a collaborative environment because you can share the result with every people of your company, and in the web client and also the rich client. It's quite easy to implement in your design office, and it's scalable. Of course, if you want to have more advanced tools, it's compatible. The results and the models are compatible with more advanced tools. The tools are that the expert uses. So for the 3D experience roles for the designers in terms of simulation, we have these 4 roles that are present. So the first one is just to providing tools to monitor and check the simulation results. The second one is SRD to set up a model under linear conditions. Is the most simplest most simple role for doing the simulation. Then you have the structural engineer called SLL in just a more advanced role because it's a bit less graded. And the last one is DRD, structural professional engineer, and here you can do all the linear and non-linear simulation. Of course, these are other roles because it's a scalable platform. You have a role for performing fluid dynamic simulation in order to see how the flow are cooling on the path, for example, and the pressure, and seek for pressure drop and flow velocities. You have a role for the plastic injection simulation. You have a specific role for the composite simulation, and you can also optimize and perform simulation process with the role SPI. So to conclude, I have 2 or 3 slides to tell you that why the simulation is important for designer. The most important topic for you is the 2 first one. The first one is the increase of innovation. Why? Because you have more time for you to develop a new concept and to seek for a new solution for your design, because you have more time to change change the design, change the idea, because the time you don't lose in exchanging data with experts, etc., etc. You can use it for designing. Also, you can do and create design that are more reliable for experts, and it leads to a very huge drop of the loops between designers and engineer. And the feedback of our customers is that, and it's a real feedback, that 90% of the time is saved for the validation of your design, because you are implementing validation, numerical validation within the design, and it's not anymore on the last stage of the concept design and only for the experts. It's only for designer. So on the design phase, the design is already more or less validating. So it's very time saving for you and for the whole company. Another point that it's interesting is that a lot of companies that we work with has already simulation tools, but here with the 3D experience platform, we can bring you new tools in order to increase the simulation. It's called footprint, yes, because the simulation is deployed also on the design phase and not only on the validation phase. So these points are for us the main points that show that the simulation is important for designers. And to help you to do this, K&IS have as four specific activities. The first one is to advise you on selecting the good solution for answering the good problems. So it's called advice, and we listen to you. We look with you what's the good solution for you in terms of simulation. Then we can train you to the use of these tools, and I will show you on the next slide that it's not quite long to learn how to use the simulation tools in 3D experience. Of course, we can propose to help you on site to develop a specific methodology, for example. And then we can also support you on the use of the simulation tools, and we are certified by Dassault Systèmes on the use and the support of these tools. Speaking about training, the first and the more simple tool for simulation for designer is the first one on the left, and you know it's only one day to learn how to set up a simple simulation. Then if you want to set up a bit more complicated simulation with the selection of the good elements and the selection of the size of the mesh, etc., it's 2 days. And 2 days also for set up nonlinear simulation, if you for the people that are more confident with the theory and the simulation and the mechanics. And for the experts, because we have also the training for the experts, it's 4 days just to learn how to perform all the simulation that are capable with that are possible with a 3D experience. Okay, it's been already 1 hour. The time is done for me. I just would like you to say if you have any question, I'm available to answer it right now or by mail. And I hope this has been interesting for you today. Okay, I don't see any question. If you have any question about it, you can write on the address email that is written on the last slide. And I wish you a very good day, everybody, and see you soon. Goodbye.